My 29 male, fiance 28 female of 4 years randomly claimed I abused her and called the police. This came completely out of the blue. Original post. I honestly don't know what happened. A couple of days ago, my girlfriend, who I lived with, left our apartment while I was at work, claimed to her family and mutual friends that I had been physically abusing her and blocked me on everything. I have no idea what's going on. There weren't any major problems in our relationship that I could see, and we just had consensual sex last night. The very last time I spoke to her before all this happened, she was perfectly fine. Kissed me goodbye before I went to work and everything was normal. Then I got a call from my dad toward the end of the day asking me calmly if I had been hitting my girlfriend. I didn't know what he was talking about, and then she told me. I rushed home and she had gotten all of her stuff and is staying with either her family or a friend of hers. My Facebook account is blowing up and I have no idea what to do. None of what is being said is true, and I don't know if someone is just playing a cruel joke on me. A few people even mentioned that the police were called, but I haven't heard anything as of yet. The last major argument that we had was probably in February around Valentine's Day. We were going through some financial trouble. The stress got to us, and we were both getting upset with each other over petty household things. She was my best friend, the person that I could rely on to be there for me, and the person I would be there for always, no matter what. We were definitely planning on getting married. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. Her family had basically accepted me into the family. I was close with both her mom and her dad. I only called them both once each other. Neither of them answered my calls. I called my, ex just twice. No answer. She blocked me on every social media platform of hers that I know of. I asked a couple of friends, but they are being distant with me. Just one-word answers or ghosting me. What the hell is happening here? We had always been upfront and honest with each other, and our communication was stellar. Now for my opinion for OP. My goodness, I would distance myself from her. She's mentally unstable. Unless, of course, there's more to this story than what you're telling us. But at any rate, move on with your life. Definitely get a lawyer and stay in no contact with her. Keep your nose clean and say very little. Best of luck to you, OP. Now for some comments before reading the update. Get it through your head right now that you can never 100% disprove vague abuse allegations, and that you will never be fully exonerated by your social circle unless she voluntarily admits her allegations were fabricated at some point in the future. Don't you dare initiate contact with her. That's what an abuser would do after all. Don't try to play the game of rumor control. It's a game for suckers and you never win. Move forward with your life with increased caution and more sensitivity to the red flags from mentally unstable women. You have one strike against you now. Your reputation may not survive a second. I speak from the heart and from experience. It's a difficult path you face, sir. Godspeed to you. Sad, but probably the most realistic and compassionate response here. I would not run and hide, but I would not provoke the beast, so to speak. We know what you know, and sometimes that's all we have to live with. That's why we have innocent before proven guilty. The only other thoughts I would add to this reply is I would pursue this under the context of being truly malicious, so to not unknowingly self-sabotage, even if that person has doubts, which is understandable given the context. I would not do anything that would further give that person ammo to make or further add on to their previous lies. Separate your finances from hers completely. Get your own house in order, call a lawyer, close any social media threads or conversations online that could be misrepresented. Maybe take a break from them so as to not post anything that you would soon regret. I pray for OP's sake that she comes to her senses and owns up to any lies, but I wouldn't put a whole lot of faith in that or anything else she would have to say beyond this point. There are people who will always believe the woman, even when evidence presents itself to the contrary. It's just the emotionality behind the way that society lives right now. Lawyer, lawyer, lawyer. That is what you need. I know you're all bummed out that your girlfriend left you. I know that you're grieving the end of what you thought was a great relationship. And I'm so sorry this has happened to you, but right now your life and your freedom are literally at stake. There is a possibility, and a very real possibility, that you could end up going to jail for this. And they don't look too kindly on girl hitters in jail, just saying. I know you're totally blindsided by this, but your focus needs to be exonerating yourself as much as possible. If you still have texts or any other communications from her, print and save them. You can work on rebuilding any relationships damaged by this afterwards. But please don't sleep on building your case, just in case she doesn't drop it. I know lawyers are pricey, but look, we're talking about your life here, and jail isn't the worst of it. The worst of it will be after you get out. Domestic violence can be a felony. That can impact your ability to ever work again. This is a big freaking deal, OP. Get yourself a damn lawyer, please. I agree with get the lawyer, but I also would say domestic violence claims never see court because the victim isn't willing to testify, and there usually isn't evidence unless the police show up directly following the violence and document injuries. I only say this because I think there is a very little danger of OP getting into legal trouble without evidence, hospital visits, police reports. You should get a civil lawyer and sue for slander. That's where the real damage is. Do not underestimate this or her. It sounds like this was planned, and she may have faked some kind of evidence to back it up. I had something similar happen, except it wasn't a significant other. It was my best friend of 20 years. And I really thought it was a prank for about a week until the serious accusations started rolling in. He wasn't pulling a prank. He was manipulative, disgusting, and I had no idea what he was capable of until he actually did it. And he planned it for months. I've never got a reason why, it just sucks. I'm sorry this is happening to you, but my best advice is to stop talking to anyone with any connection to her. If you must communicate via text, then keep screenshots of everything. Go back and save all conversations that you've had with her. Text, messenger, video, everything. For as far back as you can go. Create a folder and save them all. You need to be in self-preservation mode yesterday. Get statements from friends, family, and anyone else who has been around you. Unfortunately, domestic violence charges favor the accuser heavily, and you can get screwed and not even realize it. Be careful. Trust no one. And I mean it. No one. In the meantime, listen to the other people here. You need to lawyer the hell up now. You have a single domestic violence charge. Even without a conviction, it can screw at security clearances, your ability to get certain jobs, and a whole trove of shit because of this. Once this is over and you've cleared up all charges, for the love of Pete, go after her for filing false reports. Women like her make ones who really get beat up lose all credibility. Good luck. And now for the updates. Update 1. Okay, so this is going to be a weird-ass update. I'm sorry if you guys thought this was going to be anything interesting. A friend came forward and told me that apparently my dumbass fiance decided to play a prank on me. She had the bright idea of leaving the house for a couple of days to set up a surprise birthday party for me, set up for this weekend. I don't know what the hell she was thinking, nor do I even really know the full story yet. She is not really the prank-playing type, and I guess thought this would be hilarious or something. It looks like a majority of those friends who were acting distant were in on it. After I started being upfront and honest with showing people my texts with her, as this sub suggested, one of them told her that this wasn't cool, and that if she didn't come clean, then he would. Well, she didn't come clean, and he came forward. I guess that's why nobody was answering their texts. Anyway, I texted her and I told her that I knew. Asked her what the hell she was thinking. She started by blowing up my phone apologizing. She said her prank just went too far and it spiraled out of control when it got to social media, and that she didn't know how to come clean when she realized that it crossed a line. She also said that she didn't mean to let it come out that I was abusing her, and that she just wanted to make it seem like she left me, and that the abuse stuff was a rumor started by some other people who weren't in on her joke. I just didn't really respond to her. I left and went to my parents' house before she got back home. My family now thinks she's a freaking moron, so her relationship with them is ruined right before our marriage, so that's great. Our mutual friends are now split half and half, with them thinking she's an idiot, and the other half feeling God knows what about the situation. I'm frankly embarrassed and feel stupid for wasting everybody's time and dragging them into my relationship with my fiance. I don't really know where to go from here. I don't know if I should call off the wedding or postpone it or try to work out what the hell went through her mind. I'm sorry if this isn't ending to the story that you were all hoping for. I'm having drinks and will be here all night feeling sorry for myself and answering comments for as long as I'm awake with this Jameson. Final update. I spoke to her in person after I posted my update. From her perspective, her original idea was to make it look like she just got mad or something, grabbed a few things, left to her friend's house, where she was going to have the party thrown. Her friend has a really nice house that's perfect for a 20 to 30 person get-together. She was with her two friends and made an off-the-cuff remark when her friend said, "What are you going to say?" when he asked why, and she said, "I don't know. I'll probably tell him that I feel like he got too serious when we had sex or something like that." Then her other friend who was with her immediately took it to social media without the other two girls knowing, and then they checked their photos later on that day and it was already a dumpster fire. I said, "Great, all that's understandable, just one question. Why did you then block me and then refuse to answer my calls, because that seemed pretty freaking intentional to me?" She said because she didn't want to throw her idiot friend under the bus and thought it would all go away if she just threw the party, and she hadn't realized how far it already went. I thanked her for telling me, and then I called off the wedding entirely. She cried, I cried, it was a goddamn mess. She asked where we go from here, and I told her I don't know. I don't even know if the relationship is over yet, but I know that the engagement is over, and that if I decide to give it another chance, at the bare minimum, we need to build my trust for her from the ground up, if not the entire relationship. And I now have to decide if I want that. Do I want to spend another 4 years being undecided? If I'm being honest with myself, I imagine it taking another couple years before I can build her trust again. Do I want to get married and start thinking about having children at 35, 36, close to 40? I told her that I have a lot to think about. I spoke to her dad last night. We shared a case of beer and had a conversation that lasted about 5 hours. My ex hasn't spoken to anyone and has basically been locked up in her old bedroom for now. She's been crying a lot. I do believe that she's genuinely remorseful about all this, which complicates things. Her dad caught wind of the situation on Facebook, but learned what was really going on maybe like an hour later. He'd gotten my calls but hadn't returned them because he called his daughter first. She told him, and he just didn't know what to say to her. He told me that she's not truly stupid, but that she has a history of sometimes not thinking about things before she says them, and the impact of her offhand remarks can have. He said, and this is the worst that's ever snowballed, but she's had situations in the past where she says something stupid or insulting and doesn't realize the impact of what she said until hours later when the other person blows up over it. So that's it. I still have a lot to think about. I know a lot of you guys are telling me that I have no balls for not literally tossing her out into the traffic and laughing about it or something weird like that. But you have to understand that I still love her and have loved her for a few years now. Right now, I'm leaning toward moving on, but you're going to have to empathize with me here. As for my reputation, nobody thinks I'm an abuser. It's firmly out there now. Her reputation took a much more significant and lasting hit. I haven't lost any friends except for the idiot social media girl whose reputation also took a severe hit. Nobody called the cops. All the other posts about it have been deleted. Everything is good. There's no real need for me to get a lawyer and sue anybody. My family agrees with a lot of you. They're 2 seconds away from slapping me upside the head for not immediately kicking her to the curb. Just give me some time. I'm not going to make another updated post because I've already wasted too much of your time with this bullshit. But maybe I'll just update this post in a few more days after I've decided what to do. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my DIL she wasn't invited, since she's an embarrassment at dinner since she's a picky eater? My son's on my ass, so I'm writing here for different opinions. My son has been married for 2 years at this point. We get along as well as water and oil. I just keep my distance because I just don't like dealing with her. She is a horrible, picky eater. I don't know why, but truly I don't care because she is a pain at restaurants. We try to go anywhere and we have to change places multiple times so she can have something to eat. She makes the waiters go through hoops so she will have something she likes, and if anything is wrong, she will bitch about it or pout in the corner. Example, she got a quesadilla, removed everything on it, and when it came out, she sent it back because there was sour cream on the side. It wasn't touching anything, and she made a huge deal about her food being wrong. She doesn't have allergies either. What really made me dislike her is that she complained about food at a funeral. They had a sandwich spread, but went on about it's gross multiple times. So I had dinner yesterday and I invited everyone but my son's wife. Son wasn't invited either, but he was on a business trip. My other daughter-in-law posted it online and I got a call from daughter-in-law. She was pissed that I didn't invite her and asked why. I told her it's due to her being an embarrassment at dinners and I won't be inviting her to dinners. She called me a jerk and hung up. Now my son is on my ass and I'm wondering if I should just apologize or not. Edit, I'm going to say it. It doesn't matter if she has an eating disorder or is on the spectrum. Both of those groups know how to act at a funeral or a restaurant. It may be harder, but they can. Edit 2, to make it clearer, I have 3 daughter-in-laws and 1 son-in-law. We all have a good relationship besides this one daughter-in-law. It's not me that's the issue here. They don't like her either. Also, I find the threat of I'd better bend down to her or I won't see her kids such a stupid threat. I'm already a grandma, and if she withholds her kids, then that's on them, and would be depriving the kids of grandparents on my son's side. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She openly complained about the sandwich spread at a funeral? That's all you have to point out to her and to your son, and to anyone else who challenges you on this. She either behaves at mealtime like a decent human being, or you, for one, will not be inviting her to dinner. Yes, we have talked to her about it before. Nothing's changed. My daughter told her to shut the F up at the funeral, and it was a huge problem and her brother went no contact for a bit. We try to go anywhere and we have to change places multiple times so that she can have something to eat. If anything is wrong, she will bitch about it or pout in the corner. She sent it back because there was sour cream on the side. It wasn't touching anything and she made a huge deal about her food being wrong. She complained about the food at a funeral. They had a sandwich spread but went on about it's gross multiple times. Not the a-hole. This isn't about her being picky. This is about her behavior. She is disrespectful, childish, impossible to please, and makes everyone else suffer because of it. I've met elementary school kids with better manners. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend she is ungrateful about being a stay-at-home mom? The other day I went to lunch with 4 mom friends of mine. I'm a stay-at-home mother and so is one of the other moms. Of the other 3, 1 works part-time and the other 2 full-time. One of the moms that works full-time mentioned about how they had started to pay for a cleaner to come in every other week. They both work full-time and have 2 kids, and were finding that they couldn't keep up with all the chores. The other stay-at-home mother was agreeing with her about finding it difficult to keep the house clean when her husband does only a few chores inside the house. She told us her husband's main jobs are cooking dinner, cleaning the bathrooms, and looking after the yard. In my opinion, that's more of a fair distribution of chores considering her husband works full-time. They have 1 child, 10 female, and no pets. I mentioned to her that it actually sounded pretty fair and that my husband has 0 cleaning chores and mostly cooks on the weekends if he wants to. I told her as he works full-time to provide for our family, I consider it my job to do the majority of the household chores. This isn't gender-related in my opinion. If we both worked, I would agree about splitting chores equally, or if I worked and he didn't, I would be expecting him to do the majority of the housework. I have 5 children. The youngest 2 aren't in school, and I'm a carer for my husband's grandmother, yet it still seems easy to set aside a couple hours a day for household chores. She strongly disagreed with me, and she thinks her husband should be doing more and told me couples should split housework equally. I told her that I think she's being ungrateful to her husband, who allows her to be a stay-at-home mother even now that their child is older. I asked her what she does all day if she expects him to do half the chores and that she just wants an excuse to be lazy. In the end, lunch was ruined. She called me an anti-feminist and an a-hole. 2 of her friends took her side, telling me off for judging her. Was I the a-hole here? I feel like I was pointing out the obvious. Now for the comments. 2 of our friends took her side, telling me off for judging her. You were judging her. Both of you stay-at-home mothers have individual arrangements with your husbands. That, more or less, works for each of you. Yours seems to mesh quite nicely with your personal values about how work should be split up between you and your husband. But rather than accepting that hers is different, you compared yourself to her and conveyed your own moral superiority by calling her ungrateful. You are the a-hole. But the friend was complaining that it was difficult for her to keep the house clean given that her husband does so few chores. People vent, sure, you can disagree with people's opinions, but the way OP comes off sounds a bit much. There are nicer ways to say things, or you can just shut up if you don't have anything nice to say. I mean, I don't know the friend, but her husband might be a complete slob that leaves a trail of mess wherever he goes, and cleaning up after him might actually be a full-time job. Maybe her one kid is a handful in comparison to OP's kid. We don't know the full picture. Instead of being, I'm going to do more, or you shouldn't complain, maybe she could have found out why her friend was struggling. If OP is such a good stay-at-home mother, maybe your friend could use some tips to keep a tidy home or be more efficient. Show a bit of empathy and concern rather than judgment and criticism. You are the a-hole. I told her that I think that she's being ungrateful to her husband, who allows her to be a stay-at-home mother even now that their child is older. I asked her what she does all day if she expects him to do half the chores, and that she just wants an excuse to be lazy. And you consider this person a friend? Sometimes people just want to vent. Sometimes people just want a kind ear who will listen to them because they're a stay-at-home mother and they mainly talk to their child all day. But you thought it was more important to insult this person instead. What did you expect would happen? That your friend would say, oh my gosh, OP, you're right. I am a lazy a-hole and I need to do better. Thank you so much for helping me to see the error of my ways. I consider it my job to do the majority of the household chores. I have 5 children, the youngest 2 aren't in school, and I'm a carer for my husband's grandmother, yet still it's easy to set aside a couple hours a day for household chores. Congratulations, do you want a cookie? Nobody here cares. The thing is, we're not your friends, so we couldn't give a flying fig about your sad little humble brag. If you want a pat on the back, you need to have friends for that. Oh wait, you just insulted one of them and 2 others took her side. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.